Once upon a time, in a quiet village, there lived a sweet and gentle girl named Cinderella. She was kind to everyone, people, animals, even the tiniest mouse. But her life was not easy. After her father passed away, Cinderella's stepmother and two stepsisters treated her very badly. They made her do all the housework, sweeping, cooking, and scrubbing the floors. Even though her clothes were old and her hands grew tired, Cinderella never lost her kindness or her dreams of a happier life. One day, news spread across the kingdom. The prince is holding a royal ball. Every young lady is invited to the palace. Cinderella's heart filled with joy. Maybe, just maybe, I could go too, she thought. But her stepmother laughed. You, at the ball, in those rags? Don't be silly. You'll stay here and mend my clothes. So, Cinderella had to stay home while her stepsisters got ready to go to the ball. They put on their finest dresses and, taking one last look in the mirror, they left. As the clock chimed midnight, Cinderella began to cry. A single tear rolled down her cheek when suddenly a sparkle of light appeared. Don't cry, my dear, said her fairy godmother. I'm here to help you go to the ball. With a wave of her wand, Cinderella's rags turned into a shining blue gown. Her old shoes became glass slippers, and a pumpkin outside transformed into a golden carriage. Oh, thank you, fairy godmother, cried Cinderella, hugging her. But how can I get back home? And please hurry, the clock's already striking one. Don't worry, dearie, this magic will last until the stroke of midnight. Then you must leave as quickly as you came. Here's your wand. Wave it once, and a coachman will appear. He'll drive you home in this pumpkin carriage. Wave it twice, and mice will become men. Cinderella bowed to her fairy godmother, took the wand, and hurried to the waiting carriage. They'll help you at the ball. Just remember, the spell is broken at midnight. As she arrived at the palace, Cinderella gasped in amazement. Inside, hundreds of ladies and gentlemen were dancing. Excited, she stepped out, but then suddenly, oh no, she whispered. She had forgotten her manners. How could she possibly introduce herself to the prince? Taking a deep breath, Cinderella joined the other dancers. Soon, she was twirling round and having the time of her life. She met the prince, and they talked for hours. He was kind and funny and handsome. They danced and sang, and by midnight, Cinderella was completely lost in the moment. Suddenly, the clock began to chime. Oh, no, she cried. Remembering her fairy godmother's warning, she ran out of the palace before the last note faded. Away! Outside, Cinderella waved her wand. A coachman, she called, and instantly he appeared. Take me home, she said, climbing into the pumpkin carriage. But as they drove away, she heard a loud pop. All around her, mice scurried out from hiding. What's happening? Cinderella asked. Frightened. Don't be scared, squeaked one of the mice. We were your helpers at the ball. Now let's get you home before the spell is broken. They raced through the streets, but Cinderella could see the palace windows growing smaller and smaller. Stop, she cried. I've lost my ring. Without it, I can't get inside. The coachman stopped the carriage. Don't worry, miss, he said. We'll take you back to the palace. Someone must have dropped it here. When they returned, Cinderella searched everywhere for her ring, but it was gone. As the first rays of sunlight peeked over the horizon, the carriage turned back into a pumpkin. The horses vanished, and Cinderella's beautiful gown changed back into her old rags. Suddenly, she heard footsteps. Who's there? She called out. A man carrying a small box appeared. I found this ring near the palace, he said. Is it yours? Hesitantly, Cinderella opened the box. Her heart skipped a beat. It was her ring. The man smiled. Then may I have the pleasure of knowing who its owner is? He asked. Cinderella blushed and introduced herself. Well, Cinderella, said the man, it was an honor meeting you. And with that, he tipped his hat and disappeared down the path. Just then, a beautiful white dove landed on Cinderella's shoulder. Thank you, kind sir, she said. For returning my ring, I owe you one. The dove cooed softly and flew away. Then Cinderella noticed something strange. Prince was standing right in front of her. Did you lose something, Cinderella? He asked. Taking a deep breath, Cinderella finally worked up the courage to tell him about the ball, about her fairy godmother, and about how she had to leave without saying goodbye. The prince listened patiently. When she finished, he took her hand and said, "Will you do me the honor of becoming my princess?" Tears of joy streamed down Cinderella's face as she said, "Yes." And so the kind-hearted Cinderella and the charming prince were married. They ruled over the land with justice and grace, always remembering the importance of being kind to everyone. If you enjoyed this adventure, don't forget to like, subscribe, and join us for more magical princess stories. See you next episode, kids.